ripple effect. After the attack on the headquarters of the Red Lion gang, the news spread quickly like a storm. Throughout the city, panic and fear flared up in the hearts of every gang. If the attack on the Grey Wolf headquarters had caused a stir, this time the panic was even higher. Gangs large and small felt the power and ruthlessness of the 10 great assassins in Silverback. They whispered to each other in secret meetings, their eyes filled with worry and fear. No one felt safe anymore. The leaders of various gangs convened emergency meetings, trying to figure out how to deal with this new threat. Mighty Gorilla Gang's dilemma. Heiss's Mighty Gorilla Gang was no exception. Heiss felt more worried than ever. He paced back and forth in his office, his mind racing with possibilities. If they can defeat the Red Lion and the Grey Wolf, what do we have to defend us? Heiss sighed, knowing that there wasn't much time left to prepare. He called an emergency meeting with his top lieutenants. The room was filled with tension as they gathered around the table, their faces grim. "We need to strengthen our defenses," Heiss began. "We can't afford to be complacent. The 10 great assassins are relentless, and Silverback, he's a monster. We need to be ready for anything." Draco, one of Heiss's most trusted juniors, spoke up. "We should fortify our headquarters and set up more patrols. We also need to gather as much information as possible about Silverback and his team. Knowledge is our best weapon." Heiss nodded. "Agreed. But we also need to consider alliances. We can't fight this battle alone. Reach out to the other gangs. See who is willing to stand with us against this threat." The juniors dispersed to carry out their orders, leaving Heiss alone with his thoughts. He knew that time was running out, and every moment of preparation was crucial. The city's reaction on the streets, ordinary people also felt the overwhelming tension. They heard about the attacks and felt uneasy, fearing for their safety. The city seemed to be engulfed in an oppressive atmosphere, as the ghosts of the 10 great assassins and Silverback loomed over everything. In the markets, vendors spoke in hushed tones about the recent events. "Did you hear about the Red Lion gang? Completely wiped out," one whispered. "I heard Silverback can't be stopped," another replied. "They say he gets stronger the more he fights." Children played less frequently in the streets, their parents keeping a closer eye on them. The normally bustling city seemed subdued, the air thick with fear and uncertainty. The fear news of the devastation and Silverback's unrivaled power further increased anxiety. Stories of Silverback, who was tireless and became stronger the more he fought, made every gang fear him. No one knew when Silverback and the 10 great assassins would attack next, but everyone knew that when they did, panic and fear would rise even higher. In darkened rooms, gang leaders held clandestine meetings, their voices barely above whispers. "We can't let them take us down," one leader said, his voice shaking. "We need to strike first." "But how?" another replied. "We've seen what they can do. We need to be smart about this." Speculation and rumors filled the air, each more terrifying than the last. "I heard Silverback can punch through walls," someone said. "They say the 10 great assassins are invisible in the dark," another added. Heiss's strategy. Back at the Mighty Gorilla headquarters, Heiss and his members worked tirelessly to prepare. They fortified their defenses, adding extra layers of security around their base. Patrols were increased, and scouts were sent out to gather intelligence. Draco returned with reports from the scouts. "We have information on their movements," he said. "It looks like they're planning something big. We need to be ready." Heiss nodded. "We need to gather the other gangs. We have to stand united against them. If we don't, we'll all fall, one by one." The elusive alliance. The gangs quickly realized that creating an alliance against the 10 great assassins and Silverback was nearly impossible. Lightning-fast and brutal attacks had completely destroyed the headquarters of the Grey Wolves and Red Lions in just a few hours, leaving behind devastation and terror. In secret meetings, gang leaders acknowledged that an alliance might be the only way to deal with this new threat. However, differences in species and a greed for power became major barriers. The White Tiger Gang didn't want to cooperate with Wrestling Bear, and Heiss's Mighty Gorilla Gang didn't trust anyone but themselves. Internal conflicts made forming an alliance extremely difficult. Internal conflicts. At one such secret meeting, a leader of the ruthless Jaguar Gang spoke up. "We need to unite. Otherwise, we will be destroyed one by one." But immediately, another leader objected. Who will be at the top? Who will command? We can't trust anyone but ourselves. Species differences added to the difficulty. The ruthless jaguar gang didn't want to cooperate with those they considered weak, while the wrestling bears feared betrayal. Endless controversies caused all efforts to connect to a deadlock. Another gang leader, Highs of the Mighty Gorillas, sighed, unless a gang emerges capable of defeating the 10 great assassins and Silverback, or at least able to defend itself before protecting others, we don't have a chance. But another member quickly responded, even if we find such a person, we still don't know where the headquarters of the 10 great assassins are. They are like ghosts, only active in the dark. These words made the atmosphere in the room even more suffocating. No one knew who Silverback was. No one knew who the 10 great assassins were. They appeared and disappeared like ghosts, leaving behind terror and destruction, growing desperation. Another leader, Mima of the White Tiger Gang, voiced her worry. If we don't find a way to deal with them, one by one, the gangs will be destroyed. No one can escape forever. But all plans were disrupted by the cruel reality. The 10 great assassins in Silverback operated at lightning speed. In just 2 nights, they had destroyed 2 gang headquarters. No one knew where they would attack next, and no one had the strength to confront them. The city was plunged into darkness and fear, with the ghosts of the 10 great assassins lurking in the night. A secret meeting. In a secret room, the light from a lamp shined on Eagle's serious face. Silverback stood opposite, his eyes cold but listening attentively. This meeting did not include other members of the 10 great assassins. Eagle had a special plan, and this mission was just for Silverback. Boss, Silverback spoke first. What's the mission this time? Eagle nodded, his voice low but decisive. Silverback, this mission does not require the 10 great assassins. You alone are enough. Your opponents are Jura and Juri, 2 twin brothers from the ruthless Jaguar gang. They are called dual killers. Silverback raised an eyebrow but did not interrupt. Eagle continued. Jura and Juri have a perfect pairing style. No one has ever won against them. They use an extremely strange and effective circle formation. One person defends, one person attacks, moving in a circle as fast as lightning. Even though there is someone who has reached the highest level in martial arts, no one has been able to defeat the dual killers. Silverback's eyes became even colder. What is my specific mission? Eagle replied, his voice calm but firm. Your mission is to defeat the dual killers, destroy their circle formation. You must find a way to defeat them both in battle. Not only destroy them, but also make the ruthless Jaguar gang understand that no one can confront the 10 great assassins. Silverback nodded, his eyes determined. I will complete the mission. Eagle whispered his plan into Silverback's ear, making sure no one but Silverback could hear it. Eagle held Silverback's hand tightly, his eyes filled with absolute trust. I believe in you, but remember, dual killers are not ordinary opponents. They have defeated many martial arts masters. Be careful and use all your strength and wisdom. Silverback nodded again, then stepped back and left the room. Eagle watched Silverback's figure with hope and determination. This mission was not only a battle, but also the biggest challenge for Silverback. Preparation outside, the night sky was quiet, illuminated only by dim moonlight. Silverback walked away, filled with determination, ready for a confrontation with those considered invincible. The upcoming battle would not only be a test of martial arts, but also a battle of will and intellect, where only the strongest could survive. A magical connection. Jura and Yuri, 2 twin brothers, were famous throughout the region as dual killers, not only because of their martial arts skills, but also because of the magical connection between them. Since childhood, the 2 brothers had special abilities. They could feel and know each other's thoughts naturally and perfectly. This not only made them closer, but also created a strong and unbreakable bond. One afternoon, the 2 brothers sat under an old tree in the forest near their house. They closed their eyes and drew a circle on the ground. The miracle was that even though they couldn't see, when they opened their eyes, their 2 circles matched perfectly, without a millimeter's difference. This made them realize the power of their connection and decided to take advantage of it to develop their martial arts skills. The birth of the circle formation. Jura and Juri's common passion was martial arts. Together they created the circle formation, a formation in which one person defends and one attacks, moving in a circle as fast as lightning. This formation relied not only on their skills, but also on their special connection, making it impossible for anyone to predict their next move. The circle formation became legendary, making many martial arts experts wary. They spent countless hours perfecting their technique, using their bond to synchronize their movements. Jura, with his strength and precision, excelled at defense, while Juri, with his agility and speed, took on the role of the attacker. Their seamless coordination made them an unstoppable force on the battlefield. Distinct interests. Although they shared a common passion for martial arts, the two brothers also had distinct interests. Jura, the older brother, was a master of wine. He could smell it from afar and know what kind of wine it was and how to prepare it. Jura had enjoyed all kinds of wine in the world and was always looking for new flavors. During late nights, he often sat next to a glass of wine, enjoying every drop and feeling every delicate flavor. For Jura, wine was not just a drink, but also an art. Juri, the younger brother, was obsessed with beautiful girls. He could do anything for the girl he loved, from the smallest gestures to the most difficult challenges. Juri had always been attracted to the grace and beauty of women, and he did not hesitate to express his feelings. At parties, Juri was always the center of attention, with his charming smile and romantic style. The forest encounter. One time, when the two were practicing the circle formation on the hill, Jura suddenly stopped and said, "Can you feel it, Juri? There's a new wine in the other village. The scent is so special." Juri smiled, "And I just saw a beautiful girl there. We should visit that village soon." They both laughed loudly, their connection not only helping them in martial arts, but also in everyday life. The next day, they made their way to the village, following Jura's nose and Juri's eyes. As they entered, the villagers looked at them with curiosity and awe, knowing the reputation of the dual killers. They headed straight for the tavern, where the aroma of the new wine was strongest. Jura's face lit up with excitement as he took in the scent. Meanwhile, Juri's attention was drawn to a beautiful girl sitting in the corner of the tavern. He approached her with his usual confidence and charm, striking up a conversation and quickly making her laugh. The art of wine and romance. Jura and Juri's lives were a blend of martial discipline and personal indulgence. Jura's pursuit of the perfect wine led him to remote vineyards and ancient cellars, where he learned the secrets of winemaking from master vintners. He took meticulous notes, studying the nuances of flavor, aroma, and texture. Each bottle he tasted was a new adventure, a story waiting to be told. Juri, on the other hand, was always surrounded by admirers. His natural charisma and romantic nature made him popular among the ladies. He wrote poetry, sang songs, and performed grand gestures of love. Juri's life was a whirlwind of passion and excitement, and he relished every moment. The evening's beginning. That night, Jura and Juri stopped at a famous restaurant, a place that Jura had heard had good wine. They chose a corner upstairs with a view out the window. Sparkling lights shone in from the street, creating a romantic and warm scene. The intriguing stranger. While enjoying the meal, Juri suddenly saw the silhouette of a beautiful girl entering the restaurant from outside. She wore an elegant dress and a veil, revealing only her beautiful eyes. This only made Juri more curious and eager to discover the beauty hidden behind that veil. The girl headed upstairs and sat across from Jura and Juri. She smiled at Juri, a gentle but meaningful smile. Juri was absent-minded, speechless, just looking at the girl. Jura, understanding his younger brother, just smiled and continued to enjoy his meal. After a while, the girl left the restaurant, not forgetting to smile at Juri before leaving. Juri's heart beat wildly. He couldn't resist that girl's charm. Juri said to Jura, "You sit here alone. I have to go. Don't wait for me." Jura, understanding his brother's intentions, just smiled. "Fine, go ahead. I'll be here alone." Juri quickly ran after the girl, hoping to see her again and talk. The seductive wine. When Juri left, Jura continued to enjoy his meal. Suddenly, he smelled a faint scent of alcohol. That fragrance was so seductive that it was irresistible. Jura took a deep breath of air. "This wine smells so fragrant. I've never tried this wine before." Suddenly, light footsteps sounded on the stairs. A tall young man with a majestic appearance passed by Jura, carrying a bottle of wine with a sweet aroma. Jura couldn't help but call him over. "Young man, tell me, what kind of wine is this? I've never smelled such a wonderful scent." The young man stopped, turned towards Jura, and smiled faintly. "This is Waka wine, a rare wine made only from special ingredients and through the meticulous process of brewing. Very few people have the opportunity to enjoy it." Jura's eyes lit up. "Can I try some? I'm a wine enthusiast, and I can't miss this opportunity." The young man smiled, poured some wine into a glass, and gave it to Jura. "Enjoy, but be careful. This wine not only has a special taste, but also has strange effects." Jura picked up the glass of wine, raised it, and smelled the strong aroma. He took a small sip, letting the flavor spread throughout his mouth. Waka truly brought a different experience, making Jura's taste buds dance with delight. Juri's moonlit pursuit. Meanwhile, Juri caught up with the girl and started chatting. The girl smiled gently and accepted Juri's invitation. They walked together under the moonlight, sharing stories and enjoying that special moment. Jura's wine discovery. Back at the restaurant, Jura savored the Waka wine, each sip more delightful than the last. The young man watched him with a knowing smile. "What do you think?" he asked. Jura set the glass down, his eyes gleaming with appreciation. "It's incredible. The flavors are so complex and layered. I've never tasted anything like it." The young man nodded. Waka wine is special. It's made from grapes that grow only in a secluded valley, tended by a family of vintners who have perfected the art over generations. It's said that drinking it brings a sense of peace and clarity. Jura felt a warmth spreading through him, not just from the alcohol, but from a sense of contentment. "Thank you for sharing this with me. It's a rare treat." The young man inclined his head. "It was my pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your evening." A deadly encounter. In the dim light of the restaurant, Jura continued to savor the wonderful taste of Waka wine. The young man sitting before him had cold, arrogant eyes. After Jura took the last sip, the young man spoke, his tone full of challenge. "After finishing this bottle of wine, I will kill you." Jura didn't show any fear. Instead, he smiled faintly. "You? Do you think you can kill me?" He placed the glass of wine on the table, his eyes filled with defiance. "I'm done enjoying it. Let's see which of us is stronger." The young man smiled coldly. "The wine is gone. I have to kill you." Before he could finish his sentence, Jura unleashed a thunderous punch in the young man's direction. The young man reacted quickly, stepping back in time to avoid Jura's powerful punch. Without hesitation, the young man launched a kick at Jura's chest. Jura, with extensive fighting experience, jumped away to avoid the dangerous kick. This kick shattered a nearby dining table, creating a loud noise that caught the attention of everyone in the restaurant. The battle begins. Jura stood firm, his cold eyes facing the challenger. He knew he was up against an unusual opponent, but that didn't make him flinch. On the contrary, his pride and passion for martial arts flared up even stronger. The young man did not stop, continuing to rush forward at lightning speed, launching consecutive attacks. Jura skillfully dodged, using flexible and precise movements to defend. Each of his punches and kicks carried strength and determination, showing no weakness to his opponent. The match was fierce, every move making the surrounding air vibrate. Both fighters displayed outstanding skills and strength, yet neither giving an inch. Attacks and defenses intertwined, creating a mesmerizing martial arts performance. Jura, with composure and wisdom, gradually found his opponent's weaknesses. He jumped up, launching a spinning kick to the young man's left side. The young man stepped back, but before he could stabilize, Jura attacked again with a strong punch to the chest, forcing the young man to take several steps back. "You may be strong, but don't forget, I'm not someone who can be easily defeated," Jura said, his eyes brimming with confidence. "Show me, what else do you have?" The internal power. In the dim lights of the restaurant, the air seemed to freeze as the battle between Jura and the young man continued. The young man, with a confident and arrogant look, smiled when he saw Jura take a few steps back. "I just tried your martial arts. Pay close attention to the punch I'm about to hit," he said, his voice filled with challenge. Having said that, the young man mobilized his internal power, his eyes cold and focused. He threw a punch, and the powerful internal force created a stream of hot air that hit Jura like a storm. Jura didn't have time to react and was pushed back a few steps, amazed by the strength of his opponent. "You're so young and yet possess such strong internal power. Who are you really?" Jura asked, his eyes unable to hide his curiosity and worry. The young man did not answer, continuing to attack with a barrage of kicks and punches. Each of his attacks carried great strength and internal power, making Jura struggle to defend. Lightning-fast kicks and powerful punches constantly targeted Jura, creating tremendous pressure. Despite being a martial arts expert, Jura found himself gradually weakened by the young man's strength and speed. The opponent's relentless attacks continuously broke through Jura's defenses, leaving him unable to counterattack. Every punch and kick hit the mark, causing Jura to step back multiple times. A relentless assault, Jura felt the clear difference in power between himself and his opponent. The young man's powerful internal force not only made him stronger, but also made his attacks more formidable. Jura gradually realized he couldn't stand it, feeling completely overwhelmed. "Who are you really?" Jura asked again, his voice revealing surprise and helplessness. The young man just smiled and continued to attack without saying another word. The battle became more intense than ever, and Jura gradually realized he was no match for the young man. Despite his best efforts, he could not defeat this powerful enemy. As the fight dragged on, Jura's movements became slower, his energy drained. The young man seized the opportunity, delivering a series of rapid, devastating blows. Jura staggered, barely able to keep his balance. The tense battle. The battle between Jura and the young man continued with extreme tension. Jura gradually weakened, no longer as agile and accurate as before. The young man, now clearly a superior opponent, attacked relentlessly, not giving Jura time to recover. Punches and kicks rained down on Jura like a storm, not allowing him a moment to counterattack. In a devastating moment, the young man delivered a powerful punch to Jura's left side. This punch hit the target squarely, causing Jura to stagger and struggle to remain standing. He was breathing heavily, blood trickling from his mouth, and his eyes showed a mix of surprise and panic. "Who sent you here? Why are you plotting against me? Do I have any grudge against you?" Jura stuttered, his voice weak. The revelation. The young man stopped attacking and smiled complacently. "I am Silverback. Eagle sends his regards." Jura's eyes widened in realization. The person standing before him was none other than Silverback, a notorious figure in the gang world. Normally, the 10 great assassins in Silverback always wore black masks to conceal their identities. But this time, the attack on the duel killers set a different precedent. Eagle had hired someone to disguise Silverback as another person, luring Jura into a trap. Jura looked at Silverback, his eyes blazing with anger and awareness of the conspiracy. "This is a trap set to separate my brother and me. You used a beautiful girl to seduce my brother and separate us. You used your delicious wine to lure me. Our circle formation, which was originally invincible, was easily broken through separation and deception. You have no chance of winning against us together, am I right?" As Jura finished speaking, more blood flowed from his mouth and his body grew weaker. Silverback kept a smile on his face. "You're right." Jura knew he had fallen into a perfect trap. His and Juri's circle formation, once considered unbeatable, had been dismantled through cunning and deceit. Jura couldn't help the anger and frustration that filled his heart, but he also understood that his opponent was too strong and too clever. The pain of defeat. In pain, Jura could only hope that his younger brother Juri would realize the truth and find a way to escape this trap before it was too late. But now, he knew that he could no longer fight Silverback. This battle was over, and he was just a defeated man, brought down by the cruelty and wiles of his enemies. Jura's mind raced as he tried to muster the strength to stand. He couldn't let Silverback see his despair. He had to buy time, somehow warn Juri of the danger. "What do you gain from this?" Jura asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Why go to such lengths?" Silverback's eyes narrowed. "You and your brother are a threat to Eagle's plans. Your bond makes you formidable. Separating you was the only way to ensure victory." Jura's heart sank. He knew Silverback was right. The bond he shared with Juri was their greatest strength, and without it, he felt powerless. But he couldn't give up. A walk by the river. Under the gentle moonlight, Yuri and the girl walked by the river, a peaceful and romantic atmosphere surrounding them. Yuri felt light and happy, his eyes fixed on the delicate face of the girl who had made his heart skip a beat since the first time they met. The sound of the river flowing and the rustling leaves created a serene backdrop for their conversation. The sudden realization. Suddenly, a severe pain in his left side made Yuri stop. A hunch told him that something had happened to Jura. Looking into the girl's eyes, Yuri saw the gentleness disappear, replaced by the cold eyes of an assassin. Yuri was stunned, realizing he had fallen into a trap. "So you know martial arts?" Yuri spoke up, filled with doubt. Without hesitation, he threw a powerful punch towards the girl. The girl quickly stepped back, avoiding Yuri's punch. Without saying another word, she threw 2 sharp knives at him. Yuri backed away, jumping to the side to avoid the deadly blades. The cold revelation. The girl laughed coldly, her eyes still sharp as knives. "The 10 great assassins greet you," she said, then quickly disappeared into the night. Yuri stood there, filled with horror and anger. "I was caught in a trap," he whispered, realizing that everything had been planned in advance. This girl was not just an ordinary person, but also a part of the ruthless plan of the 10 great assassins. The urgent return. Yuri knew that he had to return and find a way to save Jura, but his heart seemed to be strangled by worry and regret. Images of his brother appeared in his mind, causing him even more pain. With strength and determination, Yuri began to run quickly towards the restaurant, hoping that he would arrive in time to save Jura from the hands of their enemies. In the dark night, Yuri's hurried footsteps rang out, mixed with the quiet sounds of nature. He knew that the real war had just begun, and he must face more terrifying challenges than ever. A brother's return. When Yuri returned to the restaurant, his heart was crushed when he saw Jura lying down, panting and defeated by Silverback. Yuri quickly ran to his brother's side, his eyes full of worry and anger. "Are you okay?" Yuri asked, his voice choked with emotion. Jura tried to breathe, his breath weak but his eyes still resilient. "I'm okay. We have to join forces to attack him. If we're lucky, we'll find a way to escape." Hearing that, Yuri nodded, determination shining in his eyes. The 2 brothers stood up. Although Jura's body was tired, their fighting spirit was still strong. They began to deploy the circle formation, the formation that made their name. The circle formation. Jura and Yuri began to move in a circle, each step agile and in sync, like a deadly dance. Silverback stood still, his eyes never leaving the 2 brothers, preparing to deal with the formation that he had heard about for a long time. Jura attacked first, throwing a powerful fist towards Silverback. Immediately, Yuri switched to defense, protecting his brother from any counterattack. They moved lightning fast, creating a perfect circle around Silverback, continuously attacking and defending in rhythm. Silverback realized that he was caught up in a strange and dangerous formation. He felt the pressure increasing, but remained calm and focused. Although his attacks were powerful, it was difficult to reach the brothers as they constantly changed positions and created chaos around him. Jura and Yuri attacked continuously, punches and kicks raining down on Silverback. However, each of their attacks was avoided or parried by Silverback, proving his skill and fighting experience. The struggle intensifies. Jura gasped, feeling his body weaken. Yuri noticed this and moved to attack, hoping to weaken Silverback enough to find a way out. But Silverback seemed to get stronger the more he fought. His internal power did not decrease, and even increased with each attack. "He is tireless," Yuri thought to himself. "His internal power seems endless." Jura gasped, realizing the dangerous situation. "I'm sorry. I'm almost done." "Yuri, we have to find a way out of here," he said, his voice filled with exhaustion and urgency. The formation gradually became ineffective, as Jura's injuries made it increasingly difficult for him to maintain the pace and coordination required. Yuri, realizing his brother's plight, took on more of the offensive, trying to shield Jura from further harm. The breaking point Silverback didn't give them a chance to retreat. With a powerful punch, he unleashed a blast of internal power, pushing both brothers away. Jura and Yuri fell down, painful and tired, but their eyes were still full of determination. Yuri crawled over to Jura, his voice filled with fierce resolve. "We will not give up. Even if we face death, we will fight to the end." The relentless assault. Jura and Yuri continued to tirelessly defend against Silverback's relentless attacks. The circle formation, the pride of the two brothers, had been broken. Silverback, with unparalleled agility and strength, launched a powerful kick towards Juri. Juri stepped back, dodging just in time, but that was just the beginning of the next attack. As fast as lightning, Silverback turned around and launched a fatal punch towards Jura. In his weakened state, Jura quickly raised his hand to block, but the force of the punch was too strong, causing him to fall backward, blood spurting from his mouth. Silverback looked at Jura's dire state and decided that the weak needed to be destroyed first. Jura, feeling his body weaken and unable to resist, whispered to Juri, his voice filled with pain and despair, "I can't hold on anymore. I'm sorry. He's too strong." Silverback stopped the fight, looking at the two brothers with cold eyes. "You two can leave here. The battle has been decided. I will come to your headquarters in 3 days." The retreat Juri, in pain and frustration, helped his brother up. The two brothers staggered out of the restaurant, knowing they had lost the battle. Jura, with fatal wounds, sensed death approaching. Juri, filled with sorrow, understood that his brother could not survive this war. As they left the restaurant, Jura weakly said, "Juri, you must live. You must avenge me. Don't let my death be in vain." Yuri nodded, tears rolling down his cheeks. "I promise you, I will never forget today." In the darkness of the night, the two brothers walked, one carrying the pain of loss on his shoulders, and the other knowing that his time was gradually ending. And in Juri's heart, the fire of revenge flared up, strong and unquenchable. Returning to the headquarters, Juri guided Jura back to the headquarters of the ruthless Jaguar gang, each step heavy with pain. Every moment felt like an eternity as he carried his wounded brother, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. The air was thick with sorrow and the scent of blood, each breath a reminder of the fierce battle they had just endured. When they arrived, Juri gently placed Jura on the bed, his eyes full of worry and sadness. Jura held Juri's hand, his breathing ragged, but his eyes remained steadfast. "Juri," Jura whispered, "listen carefully to what I have to say. We must set a trap for them." Then, Jura whispered something into Juri's ear. Juri nodded silently, tears continuously falling. Jura gently stroked Juri's face, trying to convey the last bit of comfort. "Don't cry anymore, Juri. We only have one life to live. Let's live it to the fullest. I have nothing to complain about in this life. I'm extremely proud that we are brothers. If there is another life, we will still be brothers. I'll go first." The last moments. Having finished speaking, Jura rolled his eyes and looked somewhere far away, then closed his eyes and left in silence. The life of a wine expert who also died from alcohol ended here. Juri roared like a wild animal. His pitiful cries echoed throughout the headquarters. Ravi, the leader of the ruthless Jaguar gang, stood silently watching the painful scene. The loss of Jura was not only the loss of a talented warrior, but also the collapse of the circle, the pride and steel shield that protected the ruthless Jaguar from the challenges of the gang world. The unrivaled formation, a symbol of strength and solidarity, had completely disappeared, leaving a void that could not be filled. The hard-hacked Juri stood silently before his brother's deathbed, his heart feeling as if it were being torn apart. Every time he looked at Jura's peaceful but cold face, tears welled up in Juri's eyes, unable to be contained. Memories from childhood flooded his mind. The times they practiced martial arts together, the moments of sharing joys and sorrows. This loss was so great, it felt like a part of him had been severed. Ravi stepped forward, placing a firm hand on Juri's shoulder. "Juri, we all share your loss. Jura was one of our best, but we need to be smart about this. We need a plan." Juri looked up at Ravi, his eyes red and teary, his face showing sadness and determination. "I know. Jura has a plan, and we have to execute it. We need to trap them, just like he said." Ravi nodded, his eyes becoming serious. "We will do everything we can to honor Jura's will. He sacrificed himself to give us a chance to fight back. We cannot let his sacrifice be in vain." Juri clenched his fists, feeling the pain from his heart spread throughout his body. "I will not let them escape. We will set a trap and destroy them one by one. This is my promise to Jura, and I will not let him down." Unity in grief. The other members of the ruthless Jaguar gang stood around Yuri, each with the same pain and determination as him. They knew that this war was not only for the survival of the gang, but also to avenge a brother, a friend, a teacher. Ravi gathered everyone in the main hall. We must fortify our defenses and prepare for their inevitable return. We know Silverback will come for us. We need to be ready.